They got fooled by the sunlight
What's that? Yeah,
because we went through a time change, so there's actually light out here right now.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been fooling people.
Yeah, I've still got time. Can't be time for the Zoom yet. It's still light out there.
That's right.
Exactly.
That almost got me a couple of times being off by a time zone, because
Yeah.
it's only 6 o'clock here. So
Well, well, I guess we can call this the first NEVIC Zoom meeting of Daylight Savings Time 2024
and of spring.
and of spring.
Right.
So welcome all. Good to see you all. I know we have a little bit of a light crowd today, but like we said, who knows? Maybe people are used to all the light and they're going to join 1 hour later when it's darker. So maybe we'll have a bunch of late drop-ins, but that's okay. So, all right, well, good to all see everybody here, and hope everyone's doing well and preparing for the spring. I don't have many announcements. The only one announcement I'll say is our current website is ready for Brookline table ordering. So if you are thinking about Brookline on May 18th and thinking about having a table, here's the time to start thinking about buying a table. I think a lot of you guys are remote, so I don't know how many this applies, but anyone who listens to this recording will hopefully get the reminder. But it is ready to go. In fact, we already have had our first couple of table orders, so it's already started. Because we actually have a fairly short run between Castleton and Spring Brookline. It's only really 2.5 months or so, so it goes by pretty quickly. So that's why the website was prepared so that we could do that right off the bat and get things up and going. But I think that's the only announcement because it's really a quiet period right now. April's when all the activity seems to start between all the other electronic organizations. But so I don't have any other announcements. So I'm going to hand off to Bob in case there's any other things he wants to add to the rest of the what I've just said, or anything else that we should be aware of. Hello, Bob. Good to see you.
Hello, John. Well, I really don't have much to add, actually anything to add, but we are looking forward to the May show. Hopefully, those of you who aren't far away, like Texas or Illinois or Wisconsin, can attend. I wanted to thank John for updating the website. We do have to update it every time our venue changes from Castleton to Brookline. So we were hoping that with our newer site, which John is also helping with, it'll be a little less maintenance in that area. But thanks to John for getting the tables set up to rent on the page. We've sold a few already, so that's a good sign. People are looking forward to it. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome, Bob. Thanks for that. Yeah, in fact, actually speaking of that, for the new website, what we'll ultimately end up doing is we hope to have, on one purchase page, be able to purchase all the tables. And so I don't have to, so that as a webmaster, don't have to keep changing the site all around. So you just order the right table for the right event and you'll be good to go. But we'll be working in that. We'll probably go out initially with a more simplified version, but along the lines of what I'm telling you, and then the future, which will be our V2O, will be something a little bit maybe a little bit more flexible and actually even easier, at least for us internally. For the rest of the rest of you may see not much of a difference other than some, but we'll worry about that as we work through it in the future. But yes, then when the website is ready, you guys will know. But we're still a little bit away, but not too far away. But anyway, does anyone have any announcements before I resume the photo walkthrough? Is there anything else anyone wants to add, or any purchases, or any show and tells, things, anything along those lines before we start up? Doesn't look like it, so maybe we'll just pick up where we left off with the pictures. Let me just go share my screen. That's just let me know when you can see this. This is where we left off. So this very nice Sonora turntable, which I believe I had mentioned, but I'll mention again, is already been donated for our Nebi 8 event. So it will be in the silent auction. So it's already there. So for any of you, here's a preview of what could be auctioned and what you could actually own. At any rate, moving right along. Here we have this nice, I think it's a realistic receiver and Panasonic amplifier, I suppose, below as well. Just mixed with a pair of speakers. Kind of interesting. Oh yeah, I think this was Hugh's table. This RCA Victor Total Sound Stereo Hi-Fi. And I think as you pull this down, I can't remember if I took a photo of it, but this pulls down.
Yeah.
And you can we have a phonograph and these
and those
speakers on the side.
Either swing out to the side or they unsnap with 6 feet of wire if you want to get a bit more separation.
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty nifty little system there. I don't think he was there power, so he wasn't able to demo, but I'm pretty sure that was Hughes. Oh yes, was Hughes, because he had this. You can see his name right there, Bartanian. But he had this great Hamilton Beach mixer.
I've got one in my kitchen right now, the exact same one.
Well, that's funny.
It's black though, but yeah.
No, I've got the turquoisey green one too. That's pretty funny.
I love that. That's just screaming 50s, man.
The disease has many symptoms, and that's one of them. So
well, those are wonderful. The reason I took that photo was because in our household we had it, but it was in white, and they were just wonderful devices, really, because they were just nice motors. They spun like a sewing machine.
Oh yeah.
But it's delightful, and I like the metal cup. My mother used to make,
Well, you got to have the metal cup because that's the contacts in the bottom that start the motor when you slide it under there.
Right, exactly. So it was just, the whole thing was just, I thought was just a really, that's why I had to take the photo, because it was
heavy.
Oh,
heavy.
Yeah.
That's a big cast piece there. That green part. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, if someone came in to burglarize your home when you're home, you could greet them with one of those.
Drop it on their foot and cripple them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you get walloped in the head by that, you're not getting up. Yeah, I thought that was really nice. In fact, except I don't have any space or need for this, it was very tempting not to buy it. Truth be told,
you can you can get brushes for them and parts from Malt Mixer Man. Maybe I heard
Malt Mixer Man.
Yeah,
here we go.
That's his website.
That's good to know, because I don't know. Mine could still have the originals in it, but it still works. And like John said, it still spins up like a banshee. It's
go to his website. He has videos on rebuilding them, and all the dust and all that goes inside. And mine had cracked brush caps, those black right on the top there. They were cracked, so I got brushes and caps from him. And
Malt Mixer Man.
Yeah, that's his website.
Scary.
That's hilarious. But yeah,
what I was gonna say is, during the advent of the early days of the internet, these things were going for like stupid money too.
Yep.
Really?
Everybody had to have one.
Well, and it was one of those things where it's like, ooh, I better grab that. How many could there possibly be left, in the very early days of the internet? And then 6 months later, it's like, there are thousands of them still out there.
Yeah.
And to think, my mother replaced it, with, the standard Hamilton Beach, multi-button mixer thing, which was fine. It's a perfectly good, thing, and more flexible, but there's just nothing like the per.
No, you gotta that's on the counter next door to Mom's black and white Mixmaster.
Yes.
Blender with the big, with the black knob on the side for the different speeds and the 2 different size white bulbs. you know, our bowls rather, for one for the cake and one for the icing, you know.
She had a very nice chrome one, a very nice chrome Hamilton Beach, and it had a wonderful wine to it too, and it did a nice job. But it was,
And that, you know, I don't know what smelled better. This was an early indication of problems as a very young man. It's like, was the smell of the freshly baked cake better, or was it the ozone from the motors that were?
it's the whole experience, guys.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
whole experience, you know. But she did move up to which for understandable reasons, she did get a KitchenAid, one of those more professional mixers, which were at the time, this is the 70s. She actually bought it used because a friend of ours ran an inn, and she was upgrading her KitchenAid to a different one, and she sold it to my mother on the cheap. It was a really nice professional grade system, and that thing would basically will last forever too. What a nice piece of machinery. But there's a lot to be said about those classic American pieces, that were in everybody's household. And those two were in my mother's possession. They were just nice, and they're also heavy. I mean, you pick those things, even the mixer wasn't that big. It wasn't heavy duty. It had some good heft to it. If you go
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the motor technology was such that if you wanted a strong motor, there was no getting around how big it had to be and how many windings there had to be in there. So there was heft.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And hers was a fairly light to midweight one. This was one of those big monster ones.
Just a PSA on this. The Hamilton Beach Drink Master Model 727B looks almost identical to that, and you can buy one for around $50, and they are heavy, but it's supposed to be restaurant quality. They only come in white nowadays, though.
That's what we had in our household. So
no, you got to have avocado or
sure.
What was the other one? Copper tone or something.
Rust color.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, those are the classic 50s.
Harvest gold. Got to have a harvest gold one, or
Oh yeah. Well, when you hit the 70s, there's all those painted colors. Whereas these are pretty. These are pretty. You never mind white. You never mind the nice aqua green. Turquoise, like turquoise. Yeah.
It's heavy enough that I didn't even give a single thought to running out to the kitchen and grabbing it and saying, "See, look, here it is." It's like, no, it's too heavy. It's staying back.
I stand corrected. They do.
You have to take my word for it.
Yep. But it's cool you have one. So.
Yeah, with 2 cups, by the way.
Nice.
No lines, no waiting. So.
There we go. That's funny. Let's see here. This was a B&O, I think, portable. Yes, it is. That was also on Hugh's table. I looked and I thought about it, but I didn't actually pull the trigger. But it's actually not that common to see one of these. Here's the top of it, but nice AM, FM, full FM spectrum. It's ready. It looks complete. The only thing I would say is I don't think this button here is original, but
that black knob doesn't quite match everything.
Yeah, it has to be white, you would think. I mean, I don't know why they would have done a different color there, but I mean, I could be wrong. But I never actually got around to asking Hugh whether it was original button or not. But,
I don't know. I've never seen one before, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it just feels like white would make sense here. But neat unit though. Oh, here's a nice mirror tone.
Mirror tone.
Yeah, I don't see those very often. Not a name you see around all that often. Nice shape too.
It'd be a little 4-tuber.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there, Greg.
Did you? I hope you got a good shot of that Emerson in the background, because that looks pretty spiffy.
Yes, you will. It's coming soon.
I'll be patient.
That's all right. There's so much to take. Believe me, it's very easy to miss stuff because there was a lot there. Let's see.
The classic the white creeping crud that shows up on all those brown knobs.
Yeah, this is an electronic radio.
Certainly is.
I mean, it is overkill, but that's the name of the radio, electronic. Also, not one seen that very often, I suppose. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
From 1950, according to this. Also, flash, to your point, Noah, flash will also expose the white is more harsh on the knobs than when you don't have the flash. You'll see it, but it's not so obvious. There you go.
Oh,
There's the Emerson. Spiffy little radio.
it is.
Very attractive grill and
It's like a
trim.
precursor to some of those small sized KLH units that came out later on.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's a good analogy. Yeah, nifty little radio. You know, it's actually pretty nice.
Do you know if that does anybody know, does that have any kind of like dial cord inside of it, or are you just grabbing that knob in the middle and twisting it right or left, and it's a direct connection to the variable capacitor?
I think that knob just goes right to the multi-gain tuner, so
Yeah, okay.
no dial string.
That's
Well,
it.
things
If
go
you
wrong.
don't like
that's-
doing dial strings, this is the radio for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
Yeah,
even better. That's
it's
you
one
can
less
add
thing-
another $10 to the price just because you don't have to worry about a dial string.
Direct
right.
drive tuning.
Yeah.
There you
I'll call
go. Yeah, it's a good term too. Direct drive. People are like, oh, I gotta have direct
DDT.
drive.
DDT that you don't use on insects. Direct
Yeah.
drive tuning.
What's the little bug thing down in the left-hand corner?
Yeah, I was just wondering that myself.
This thing? I know.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. I don't think it doesn't seem to be a pilot or anything. I don't know whether it's just
Window
part of-
dressing of sorts.
It's
Yeah.
not a tuning eye.
No.
Wait a minute.
No.
Is there a missing knob?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. Should there be another
Oh.
knob there, or
What would it do?
I don't know. 'Cause, well, it would run the dial string to turn the thing in the middle if you weren't supposed to grab it and just twist the middle.
Yeah, which I have a feeling, just judging from the shape of the knob, you just grab it. You know, like you know, it
I
just
don't
feels.
know.
Either it is just for symmetry, or there is a knob that does nothing. Like maybe one's an on off switch, and one's a you know, volume.
Maybe as a prototype, they had thought about putting a knob there
Or maybe it's the
and then change their mind.
it's the piezoelectric transducer for super high frequency tweeter that goes with the woofer that's behind the big screen,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know.
or not.
They can't tell whether this is really a legitimate place for.
I don't. It's
posters.
weird. I don't know what it is. It doesn't look like it. Either looks like it doesn't belong, or it looks like it should be hidden by another one of those white plastic knobs like the one on the other side.
Yeah, no, because it looks like this.
But there isn't much of a shaft there to.
It looks like this looks similar, you know, to at least, you know, so it looks symmetrical in that regard. I see a little bit of a, no, I don't know. It's a really interesting question. I wish I had actually caught that more carefully.
It's another one of those. I've never seen one before, so I can't even look it up. You know,
Yeah. Neat radio though.
it's a cool radio.
Yeah, and I like the nice big Emerson emblem there.
It's sort of, you know, it's Art Deco-ish looking. You know.
Yeah, no question. That's fine. You know, what was it? This must be from the late 40s, early 50s, I'd say.
I don't know. Next show, tell the guy who's taking the pictures to make sure all the tags get turned around so we can see exactly what they are and how much they cost.
Yeah, you know, there's a problem. Yeah, that's the tough one because, you know, I'll be honest with you. I took probably 75% of my photos before they let the hounds in, because you know, the moment people come in, it's really hard to get pictures. So and there's a lot, you know, there's supposedly somewhere around 92 tables I'm dealing with, you know, so I'm blasting through these things. So you know, if I knew I had an extra half hour, I probably would start flipping tags around, you know, when I could, but I was just blasting as fast as I could. But I appreciate that. Yeah. Of course, yet another Zenith TO. You never have I don't think I've ever been to a show when is at least one of these there.
Yeah.
The show's no exception.
I think Zenith made more of that model than any other one. They made those for 3 years, 3-year model run. That's an H500, and they made them between 1951 and 1953, and they actually had 4 different versions of that.
Okay.
But that looks to be in really nice shape.
Mm.
You know, there's no cracking on the front bezel that I could see. Well, there's a small one in the middle of the 2 screws by the handle, but very nice shape.
Yeah.
I just tried to blow the picture up to see if I could get the price on there. I couldn't quite get the number on that. It's
Yeah,
flashed a little.
it's turned around, I think, you know, so whatever it was. It's a pilot lamp. Thank you, Howard. So now we know there is
Pilot
actually-
lamp.
So that was what we were wondering.
Is that a 46 or a 43?
It's an incandescent. It's not a neon. That's all I can really say. I can't quite tell from the picture I found.
Run off the filament voltage?
Probably a 44 or a 47, one of them.
That's pretty
More
cool.
likely a
Though.
47.
So it had, so it must have had 2 lamps. I assume. Oh no, this wouldn't have a dial lamp because this is
No dial
yeah.
lamp needed.
Yeah,
Not
so
all
what
that-
you get this little pilot lamp. Yeah, good catch, Howard. I wondered about that, but I said I don't know. It didn't look like it would be a natural fit for one because you didn't see. Usually, you see like a little, you know,
I'm
plastic.
looking,
Plastic.
you know, these came in all kinds of, not just the wood, but the plastic cabinet. And if I remember correctly, I did see one once, and that little thing in the lower left, it kind of is like a little magnifier. But I think the pilot lamp also illuminates the numbers and kind of the sunburst thing.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, you know, Bruce had one of these. Bruce Phillips had one in every single color of the plastic one. He must have had 7 or 8 of them. And I remember him showing me one, and I do recall, I think it actually like lit up the entire plastic front.
Oh.
I'm trying to find a picture online of one lit up, and I can't. So, but I did find a chassis, and you can see that there's a rubber grommet with the light bulb right at
okay.
that point.
Well, then there we go. Good find, Howard. Now
Yes.
that's the mystery solved because, you know, we don't like mysteries, do we?
Yeah,
But,
we do.
Well, occasionally, but it's always nice to say.
It's just a cute little radio.
It is. It's actually quite attractive in the wood cabinet. You know, the scratch here is really not all that bad. You could probably, you know.
They make stuff to make that go away.
Exactly. And so you could really, it's a really pretty nifty shape. And I can't remember whether that was shoes table or not. In fact, I should have looked at that more carefully. It's funny how you look at these pictures twice and so think, geez, well, how did I not look at this more carefully? You know.
No, I'm sure it's like you said before this. So it's sensory overload. You're trying to take 100-something pictures.
Well, I see. As you're taking photos, you're thinking, geez, I wonder if I should come back and look at that more for my own personal, you know, wants, right? You know, and there's just so many of those, and you start forgetting what you've seen. But we talked about that. All right, so we have a variety of. What we got here? Is that a reel-to-reel?
Yeah, it looks like.
Yeah, it's a reel-to-reel.
Little, you know, 3.5-inch reels or something.
Yeah, I guess so. Who makes this?
Can't be that old. It has a barcode on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that.
Seems like every piece of electronics I see that has like a see-through container or cover on it, it just reminds me, oh, this must be a reel-to-reel tape for jail. Everything, you know, TVs, radios, they always had that clear lucite, molded plastic or whatever.
Right. But yeah, it's a variety of.
It looks like that white thing is a RCA tube radio. I think
Yeah,
that took that
Victor.
those weird Japanese tubes too. Maybe
right?
they had a couple like that. The one behind, there's 2 portables behind that. The one on the left is a GE. That one there.
Yeah.
The one on the right, I believe, is an Emerson 4-tube portable.
Okay.
The back bit. It looks like a couple of cassette players there.
Yeah, it's a GE and Not sure what that one is there, but maybe, I can't remember if I got better shots. Probably not on those because they were so close together. Oh yeah, here's a Philco Model 49.
Oh, yeah. Flying wedge.
Yeah.
Wedge,
Yes.
yeah. One of those there.
Not as attractive as the plastic cabinet ones.
Yeah.
You don't see them in wood though, Greg.
I was gonna say that maybe
Not
makes it
very
more
often,
rare.
no. I had one once, but
Did you have a wood or a plastic one?
I've got a plastic one, but at one time I had the wooden one. I got rid of the wooden
Oh,
one.
wow.
It was a carryover. They had the 48 was a 48 model. Let's see what it says here. 48 model 230.
Okay.
That was the plastic one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad looking radio here. Like this Heathkate Q multipliers.
Few multipliers.
There's a trio of them, $30 each. Doesn't seem unreasonable for the price. Ah, yes, here's another look at this
Oh,
The
wire
Webster
recorder.
recorder.
Yeah.
$100. Pretty nifty with a couple of wires, it looks like.
Yeah.
$200. Must be copper wire to use.
Probably. That was actually kind of neat. Again, not something you see all that often. Ah, yes, is a this. Oh, I'll have better photos of this later. This was
Oh, a Bose
That's
receiver.
a Bose.
yeah, a Joe
Wow.
Joe Cocos. Well, I'll have better photos, but I'll talk about this anyway. I looked at this 2 or 3 times and was very tempted because it plays very nicely. This came as you see it. The speakers. I have a better shot of the speakers. Had the phonograph, this, and the 2 speakers. I think it was asking $2 for it, which I thought was very fair, because the speakers are actually rather nice. They had this interesting baffle for the tweeter. With this plastic baffle, you could turn the angle of the tweeter.
Yeah. Well, they were big into the whole direct reflecting thing, you know, so you had to direct your tweeter to whatever wall or surface it was going to bounce off of.
Right. And so it
We
had
used to, back in the 70s, we used to joke about it. We called it the direct recrapping sound of the Bose speaker. Says if you ever wanted to hear a 12-foot, 18-foot wide piano, you wanted to listen to it on a Bose speaker, you know.
right.
It was great for like overall orchestral sound and all that kind of stuff, but the imaging, you know, I mean, it also spread out instruments that shouldn't be spread out that much.
But it's kind of interesting. I never realized that that Bose made a very simple AM/FM receiver like this. That's what I thought was really interesting, a standalone piece. So I thought, I've never seen one of these before. And Joe had gone through it, and in fact, he even has a little on the. I think I have a picture of it with this lit up, so I'll sort of defer on that until I get to it later. But yeah, that was a nice. He was just setting up. That's why I grabbed the shot. So it's the better shot later.
Framingham.
Yeah. In fact, speaking of which, there's Joe's daughter, and Joe setting up. So that the player was off to the left there. There we go. In fact, you can see the speakers right there. See that right there? There's Bob and Joe, and that little right there. If I go into there's a little. See?
Yeah.
You turn the dial, and you can essentially angle it. You can see there's actually speaker cloth there, so allow for the adjustability of the tweeter.
They almost look like 301s. I had a pair of 301s that I picked out of the trash in the neighborhood. Yeah, and it had that baffle in front of the tweeters.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I mean, it's a really great sound. You can see, had it running. It's actually quite nice. And here's a Pioneer. This is, you can see from the 70s, got that all the push button for the, you know, for all the different functions there. And you know, and the turntable there. There was actually a fair number of pretty nice, you know, 70s, 80s receivers.
Yeah, it's
there.
interesting stuff.
Of course, Bruce had the, you know, the Pioneer, which I'll show later. That, you know, that I think the $12,000 Pioneer they sold for $5,000. So someone got a really good deal for an absolute top shelf Pioneer, which you'll see later as well. Here, oh, this gentleman here had a record cleaning machine. He actually demonstrated for it. It was actually pretty nifty. You know, had sort of this vacuum. You just throw this, you know, throw the your record on there, and off it would go and clean your records. Not something you see every day.
No.
Let's see, a plethora of.
Oh, DBX and Carver.
Yeah, Carver and you know, so you had a wide range there. I'm not sure with this bottom guy. Let's see, Lafayette.
What's that phase linear thing? I think I actually sold one of those at one of our earlier shows. Is that a 1000?
Yeah, 1000 it is.
Yeah, the auto correlator noise reduction system. It was like it was sort of a combination DBX / Dolby kind of competitor thing. You put it in the tape monitor loop on your receiver or on your preamp, so that you could increase the dynamic range. It worked. It was basically worked best with, you know, cassettes or reel to reel.
Oh, okay. Ah, yes. Howard would know about this. This very nice system I showed earlier that's got sold. This, I think everyone was impressed by the demo, and so somebody snapped that up, and because it sounded very nice in the hall.
Actually, John, that wasn't mine. That's a Philco with a phonograph that pulls up.
Oh, did I get that wrong? Oh, I'm sorry.
Mine was the RCA. That's okay. I don't remember who brought those. It was somebody who had a table nearby, and they brought 3 or 4 consoles.
Oh, yes. He had a whole plethora of interesting items. Like
I used to do that too. I would buy a table and then try to find some unclaimed wall space somewhere and stick a few of my consoles in there and cross my fingers. It worked pretty well.
That's right. Yeah. No, thanks for reminding, Howard. Yes, I remember now. Yours had a somewhat different look on the dial face and so forth that threw me off there. But yeah, it's actually a nice system. I have no idea whether it's sold, but yeah, there were a couple there.
I think Howard's is the one to the right, because I remember it ran off of the wall wart.
Oh, okay. Right.
Oof.
Here's another one. What we got? RCA. All parts intact. 160. Seems maybe a little ambitious. But
mine was working very well, and I sold it for 80, and I thought I did well. So I think that there, put it this way, that's a model 29K.
Yeah.
To me, he'll be lucky if he gets 25 for it, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, the condition, it's in pretty ragged shape, but it's all there.
I applaud the ambition, though. I do.
Yeah, yes. I'm going to guess that it didn't find a home, but you never know. Unless someone, you know, offered them, you know, a really cheap price, is a fine.
There's some wiggle room
behind it.
Yeah, it's that's an 11 o'clock purchase or something.
Yeah, well, there were people, there were some sellers that were hanging around until, because it's interesting, because the show ran until 1, but people were wrapping up by around 12. I mean, the sellers were quickly closing up, and there were some that hung in there, and people were running around seeing if they could make a last minute deal, and I think some last minute deals were had, you know.
The bigger it is, the cheaper it is.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
But to coin steal a phrase from an old country western song, the radios all look better at closing time or something like that.
Oh, yeah, right. Yep. Let's see what do we have here.
Emerson.
Oh yeah, so it is. Yes, yes.
With the backwards dial.
The backwards dial.
Yeah, it goes 55 to
Oh, right.
160 in the other direction.
Right.
It's like having like a right-hand drive automobile as opposed to a left-hand drive automobile.
Oh yeah, there's the insignia. I was looking for something. There we go. Missed it. Let's see, GE. Been rather attractive looking radio in its own right. It's just some push buttons, you know, nice little radio actually. And they were asking.
Is that one of those where
35.
like the first 4 buttons are presets and then the 5th button is the one you push in for manual tuning? Is that how that works?
Yeah, some of those are like that. Philco is good for that.
Oh yeah, maybe. Let's see. They were asking, I think, 35.
And if
That's
you don't have it
reasonable
pushed
for
in,
that.
you won't get any sound.
What's that?
No, I was going
I
to say
said
that's a reasonable number for that
Yeah,
radio.
I would say
Yeah.
so. It's just, I was actually a rather attractive radio as I look at it more. You know, nice, nice mesh grill, and
I mean, if you
just-
know someone that's having vision problems, that's a great dial right there.
yeah, nice and big. Yeah,
Even Mr. Magoo could find a station on that.
yeah, yeah. It's a nice looking radio though.
It's a nice radio. I'd
Yeah,
have that in my collection.
Yeah.
You know, that woodwork around the edges like
Yeah,
that.
I like the all the beveling and
Yeah.
and the meshing. I said it's really quite
It's got
attractive.
some nice deco touches on it.
Yeah, another one for more than reasonable money. Oh, Hallicraft is assuredly there's going to be at least one of
The
those.
S53.
Indeed, there's always at least one of those pretty much at every show. But
Well, the neat part about that radio is besides AM and shortwave band, if you look at the second to the bottom scale there, that's 6 meters.
Hmm.
So that was a kind of a big deal back in the late 40s, early 50s to have 6 meters on there for reception.
Looks kind of S38-ish. Is it related to them?
It's probably the same cabinet. Probably the same. Well, actually, yeah, it's probably the same cabinet as like a S38. The first S38.
Let's see, I think this is another one I took, or it's maybe the
RCA Victor called. I don't remember the model number of this, but they called this the Waterfall.
Waterfall.
Yeah,
Yep.
it reminds me of a shade.
So this had like the little RCA jack in the back. So if you wanted to plug something in there, your phonograph, or what was it? The
Your
R45
little
EY2 that didn't have the
EY3, I
amplifier.
think it was. Yep. Your little
The 3 had the amplifier in it, but if you had the 2, you plug it right into this guy and you play your phonograph through that.
Yep.
Okay.
Still have a couple of those little EYs.
It's nice Admiral.
Yeah.
A rather nice looking radio. Let's see. Can I see what they were asking for that? AM okay.
AM okay, little hums. Well,
Little
I forgot
hum.
some of the words.
Little hum. So.
Oh, say, can you? Oh, I don't know.
So it says all it does is it hums. There's no vocal. It just hums. Yeah, nice little radio though. Actually rather attractive.
Is that plastic or wood? It kind of has a woodish look to it.
It looks like wood on top.
I think so.
I guess that is wood.
I think so. I
Okay.
think this is a plastic inset here.
Yeah, that's
It almost looks like
definitely,
it could be plastic or metal. It's it's like it's weird, shiny. It's
Yeah,
cool.
it's hard to say. I didn't actually touch it, so whether it's metal or plastic.
Well, it certainly presents really well. It's a
Yeah.
good looking radio.
Sure is.
A classic Admiral script.
That's right. Unmistakable. RCA Victor.
The Victor Strato World.
In decent shape.
That's the, what is that, the 7B, I think?
$75.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, the handle's broken, but
Pump don't work because the handles took the, no, the vandals took the handle. That's what it-
Missing a knob too.
That's the
Yeah.
anti-theft device. No handle. Oh, there's a 106 in there. Oh, I can't get it.
Stromberg Carlson.
Stromberg.
Okay.
What was that? 130H? Can't remember the number on that.
That sounds about right, yeah.
They even made I had a college friend that had his aunt had one of these with the tuning eye, and I restored it for him many moons ago, and that was one heck of a nice radio.
They seem to have managed to really cram a lot of stuff under the chassis, though. They weren't the easiest things to work on, at
No.
least for me anyway.
Yeah, they're great at getting 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah.
No question about that. The thing that frustrated me when I first started doing a couple Carlsons was that you didn't have a value on their, old wax capacitors. You just had
Yep.
part numbers.
Yep. Exactly.
And that kind of ticked me off the first couple times, and after that, I just kind of became immune to it. Oh, okay, I'll figure it out.
What could it possibly be? Anything, something between 0.01 and 0.1, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, just get out the wheel of capacitors and spin it wherever it
That's
lands.
it.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
Stick it in there and have a listen.
Yes.
Go by size. That looks like about a 0.01.
And
Right.
the white comes out and gives you a capacitor to put in the
Well, that
radio.
was the other thing because you didn't know if it was like 200 volts or 400 volts. Or,
Yeah, exactly.
so you have to replace everything with a 630. You know, it's like
I think the first one of these I did, I had to go online and find it was somewhere on the web that had the list of Stromberg Carlson part numbers, and you can correlate it to the wherever the values were.
wow, 100. Does that say $195?
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was seems a little
Boy,
high.
that's a poor restoration job for that number, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Need a little more black paint along the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking. That seems a little ambitious. Well, little might be a understatement.
limousine company bought all the black paint.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a nice true tone.
Ooh,
This was
10.
$70 and much more reasonably priced.
It looks a little melted.
The old
Oh, you-
10.
Peanut
Well, no,
butter.
when you get to the lower part of kill cycle scale, it just kind of goes downhill from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
KOAM, KQAM. I think that's
I have a
Midwest.
GE. I have a GE that's got that same problem with the tenite. It all shrunk, cracked, looks like peanut brittle.
Yep.
I've been hemming and hawing about 3D printing one and then doing some sort of either acrylic or epoxy coating, but it's so arduous to draw those things. I've done it in the past, but it's a lot of work.
I bet it is.
I spent almost 30 years in the plastics industry, and the plastic injection molding technology that was available at that time was just really poor. And there's the result right there. Got the 90-year-old tenite, and it's just surprised it's still one piece, to be honest with you. You can see the crack under the second button.
Yeah.
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 But that was the technology back then. So
Yeah. All the plastics back of that era were just prone to getting brittle and cracking, as it aged, Still not a bad looking radio if you overlook
it's still
that.
pretty set.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
You can somehow get a replacement for that, you'd be in really good shape. I've seen it. Wave magnet. This was,
I forget the model number of that. It's a 5-tuber, but boy, is that industrial looking, isn't it?
sure is.
Mhm.
Asking
In the
a,
black bakelite.
yeah. Asking
Dial
a,
pointer something.
what's that?
So the dial pointer is something, huh?
Yeah,
Big fat thumb.
for a cool 225. I don't think there's a decimal point anywhere.
That's the one with the big wave magnet on the back too. Some of them didn't have that. Some just
Yes.
had the long wear.
Yeah, let's see. What do we have here?
Printed meters.
Ah, that's right.
I think one was tube and one was transistor, if I remember correctly.
Millen, yeah, they're good stuff there.
Oh, made in Malden, Massachusetts.
What that guy had going for him was he had every single coil for them. And the cases.
Yeah, I thought that was actually impressive. That was certainly photo worthy.
Yeah, without the coils, that meter is nothing.
Yeah,
That's cool.
nice pieces of local technology. This was Bruce's table. He was getting rid of all those. I think this is Bruce's table. Yes, he had all those novelty radios. He was, remember, you may recall emails he sent out where he said, "Okay, if anyone has anything particularly in interest, let me know." We had, Mickey Mouse, and I think I had better shots later. He was starting. I think he was still setting up at that point. There's Tom Scarpelli and Al Perkins. Al's the guy who does all the table assignments, and of course Jeanette, who was always helping at the checking buyers and sellers in. And Tom, of course, sells many of our vacuum tubes. He does some work for Bruce, I think, and radio repair.
And an occasional predicted.
Yes, you'll see that later. He's got he had the one Philco Predicta that he had up and running, and it didn't last very long. I think he was asking was he asking 280? I don't know if that was the right price. That sounded about right, and he sold it and didn't last long. Out it went. And early telegraph equipment, Phillips Morse automatic telegraph. Pretty cool. And here's an Emerson. I think we see one of these in the past every so often. I forgot what model, but it's actually rather nice looking.
Increase.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny.
I forget if that's that's gotta be a TRF, isn't it? I don't remember.
Oh, like just because it's just got numbers instead of actual dial phase with frequency, you're thinking that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, this is the table the guy had all this interesting stuff. In fact, you see the Zenith sign right behind it.
Yeah, the finest in television or something. Can't remember the little blurb that used to go underneath that.
Here it is. This was just Zenith Radio.
Oh, that's just Zenith Radio. Okay, they had a similar sign for television, I think.
That's pretty
okay.
nice.
Yeah, it's actually rather nice. In reasonably good shape. I mean, I'd love to see those things lit up. And I think it was your power. I was hoping you'd actually fire up some of these things.
Cost extra for that.
Yeah.
Canadian.
That's
Northern
right.
Electric.
Actually, check the radio. Interesting color. This sort of this bronze color.
Yeah, it's that hammer tone paint really looks cool on that.
Yeah.
It's funny how many of these radios seem to mysteriously or not so mysteriously all be tuned to 680 WRKO. It's like,
Yeah.
I actually had a guy bring me one of these probably 10 years ago at a New Jersey Antique Radio Club repair clinic. I got real nervous until I pulled it out. I'm like, oh, it's an 885. Okay, thank God. So I was able to go through the thing without a schematic, but just really deco, cool looking radio.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like the waterfall grill. Very nice. Very nice. Oh yeah, yeah. He had the Zoom on television. I thought that was rather nice.
First,
I
with the
That's
finest
nice.
in television.
would love to have seen this lit up too. I was like, oh,
Mm.
turn that baby up.
I'll bet that wasn't cheap.
Yeah,
Probably not.
not with that neon.
Here's a neat, Panasonic from what I assume the late '60s.
I forget what they called that TV. They had a name for that.
Yeah, I don't remember. I was asking $550 for this, so they must be rather uncommon. I'm gonna guess this is a late '60s, mid to late '60s.
Yeah, it's a late '60s TV. I darn it, having a senior moment here. Can't remember what they called. There was a name for that.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
they're-
space or
Wally.
Right from the Jetsons, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was the Elroy.
Yeah, the Elroy.
Yeah, that might be. Although I think the Philco really it's really much more of a Jetson style TV, I have to admit.
Rank you, rah-rah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's like George. This was kind of interesting. This
Westbury.
solid-
Ooh, speaking of 8-track.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. It's actually I've never seen a Westbury. I mean, it's probably just one of these off-brand,
No.
that I remember seeing. It's like Westbury. Okay, not very seen very often. At least the brand.
And it's stereo. Where are the speakers?
I'm not sure whether it was built in. I don't remember.
It's got a balance control and it says it's
Yeah.
stereo.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Certainly an atypical piece of, late '60s, early '70s technology.
And that like a battery indicator that's there too. So
Let me double check that. Yeah. Yes. Looks that way. So it must have been presumably meant to be for portability, of course.
Or is that a record level? Could you record from your radio to the?
I first thought of that and then I was thinking, nah, it might be more battery because I don't know, you probably have to keep an eye on those batteries if you're running an 8-track mechanical mechanism,
Yeah,
on
you
a
bet.
on a bunch of D cells or C cells in the back.
Especially when the solenoid kicks in, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think, those things I'm sure were heavy to haul around. You throw a bunch of batteries in, and you're like, oh, you're carrying around about 15 pounds worth of.
It's like having a tube transoceanic with a battery in it.
It's like, oh,
You're gonna be walking around in circles because one side of your body is 20 pounds heavier than the other.
yeah.
Yeah. What's the matter?
Yep.
Where's it at?
And what we got here is Zenith Computer. Zenith.
5 1/4 floppies, 5 1/4.
Actually, and also you
A
don't see
148. It's a Z148.
not seen very often Zenith, making computers. So
Oh, we made them in St. Joseph, Michigan.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. That one, I had one as a sample from engineering. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and when we were all in production, I gave it to my son, and he really liked it. Then I had to give it up, so he was really kind of ticked when I took it away.
Hey, Rob, I have a question for you since you did that. Is that part of the Heathkit Zenith thing?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Zenith
Okay.
bought the Heath company and formed Zenith Data Systems. First computer was Z100, and there's a series of them. That's a 148. And yeah, it was a Heath Zenith, and eventually they kicked out Heath Company. They bought an old Kmart in Benton Harbor, gutted it, and made a really nice office and factory area. So Heath Company ended up back in Benton Harbor, and the production facilities at ZDS, or at the old Heath Company place were all Zenith Data Systems. And we did a lot of computers there. And then they built an engineering building across the street from it. And that's where I resided.
These
Oh,
things
wow.
were IBM PC clones, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
no
yeah.
question.
Yes. Yep.
Very cool.
I think I still have one. Because we used to go to the salvage sales and all. I think I might have one in the basement, believe it or not. Maybe. I've got a bunch of old junk down there.
That's funny.
What did he want for it? Did it say?
Don't think I could find a label on there. We'd have to ask Sean.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry, Rob.
Nope.
An early Mac, a Mac Classic.
Oh, wow.
That's actually kind of neat to
Floppy.
see.
Right in.
You know, a little floppy in there, the center.
Well, at least that one looks like it might be 3.5 as opposed to 5
Yeah,
and 1/4.
I think you're right there, Noah. That was in really nice shape. It was like, wow, for those people who are early Macs, they'd be all excited to own one of those.
Yeah, it's not yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really remarkably nice shape. Some military gear up to the right here. Yep.
Oh,
Here's a
5.
ICO tuner.
yeah. I go
command
to down
stickers
below.
there. Command sets.
Yeah.
What's that in the lower right?
Let's see what we got there, Brad. Darn the Navy Bureau of Aerodynamics. It's
Mark
a radio set.
48.
Some kind of avionics, maybe. Who knows what it is? Something.
The Telephonics Corporation from New York.
What's on top of it?
Let's see what we got here. A
Oh, a do-all.
Sorry about that. There we go. Sorry about that. I clicked a do-all. It really does everything.
Even a Bearcat scanner, police scanner.
Yeah, I recognize that. That was a
You guys remember
classic
those
look.
back in the
Where's
70s?
that?
The Bearcat
Oh
scanner.
yeah, right here.
Yeah. Boy, they
My-
must have made a million of those things.
And my dad had one he bought in like, I don't know, the early mid 70s. It was
Mhm.
yeah, I loved it because it would always the LED lights, it would just strobe across as it would just keep
Yep.
scanning this
Yep.
and then it would lock on when you had a station would lock, I would stop and then
Yep.
get a broadcast or whatnot.
That brings back memories.
It does. I wish but now I think everything is scrambled, so having one is almost
Well, you
pointless.
wouldn't get nothing on there.
Same thing with aircraft. Like my I have some radios, like my airline radios have an aircraft frequency, but they're all scrambled now, I guess, at the 911, so it's pointless. It's just so you hear it's nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, we used to listen into cell phones and aircraft conversations with Hewlett Packard Spectrum analyzers. We'd fire one of those up. We could demodulate any of that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun when everybody had the 48, 49 megacycle cordless phones, and I
Right.
have my neighbors in the neighborhood talk about stuff. It's great.
Yep.
They heard them talking about you, like, what?
Yeah, what? What'd you say?
Exactly.
I'll get them for that.
Clandestine affairs going on, and drug
That's right.
deals, and all kinds of stuff was out there.
Right. Yeah. Bob could be writing books from it.
I showed that stuff to my in-laws. They loved it.
Let's see what we got here.
Just slightly ahead of our time.
Oh,
Tony, no baloney.
That's right.
Panasonic. AM/FM 8-track, or is that a cassette?
No,
What is that on the-
No, it's an 8-track.
It's 8-track,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, it's too.
That one I think says recorder.
Oh,
Yeah, it
one
does.
recorder.
8-track stereo recorder. There you go.
Oh yeah. So son of a gun. So see, Just goes to show, like I said, we never was one in our household. I never paid attention enough about them because it's like, hey, Jack, meh.
What's weird is if you zoom in again, it looks like it says that it's a 4-channel amplifier.
Oh, is
Why?
that quadraphonic?
Well, I don't know, or does
Quadraphonic.
it, or is it just like front and rear, left, right, just kind of
No, they had all sorts of,
It's 4-channel. It's a
four
quad.
channel?
yeah. They had all sorts of terms. So my dad had a Panasonic, was it a SC? I forgot the number.
SQ?
It was an SC something another
Okay.
quadraphonic, and we had he had
Yeah.
the 4 speakers. It sounded pretty darn nice.
Yep. But there was CD4 and there was SQ. There were 3 or 4 different formats.
There were
for the
different
quad.
formats.
Yeah.
It'll come to me later. It was maybe 50,
I still have a bunch of those.
5500.
I have a bunch of those quadraphonic stereo test records that Columbia printed, but I never had a
I was
cartridge.
surprised. I was surprised over the amount of people that they're almost like a cult that collect all this 4-channel stuff from, I think it was 1973 when
Yep.
they started doing FM and quad, and next thing you know, you got 4-channel albums, you got 4-channel 8-track, 4-channel cassette. It was like nuts.
Yeah, it was just technology that was short-lived. I mean, in terms of never really got much momentum, so it was
They
a
were
niche.
too far ahead of their time. That was before I'll think of using one of those systems like with a high definition television with a 5.1, 7.1, all that stuff that's going on now. And
I was
Yeah.
at an early HAD auction that had not the top of the line, but I think it was the next to the top of the line Marantz. It was a 4300, which I think at that time was like 50 or 60 a channel for 4.
yeah,
And then if you went the 2-channel, I think it was like 100 or 110 or something like that. Receiver went for a couple grand. It was like $1,900 that went for.
and heavy.
Couldn't believe it.
I bet.
So what is that big Sony thing on top? Is that like a VHS thing or something with the big hole in the top there, or what does it do?
I don't know.
The back massager. No, I don't know. It looks pretty industrial, whatever it is.
It does. Looks like a
Let's see if I can.
Says digital
the-
something.
digital something.
It says master something there.
Master volume. There's a
What was that?
DA3000 ES.
Oh, the ES series. That was Sony's high-end stuff. Let me see if I can
Digital something.
Digital. I don't know what it.
see if I can find out.
Yeah, you may have to do a Google there because it
What
baffles.
was that number again?
Hang on. Get back up there.
DA3000
DA3000 ES.
Trying to think of what went in there. Just looking
You
at
could
this.
be the only kid on your block. That looks like that's like a fold down door and has more like adjustment things behind
I
it.
think
or
that's
something.
one of those surround sound receivers,
Um,
Wow.
like a 7.1 surround sound or something like that.
Okay.
Oh, here it is, 7.1 reference line receiver.
So it's got to be
There's one on eBay right now for $250.
It's got to be fairly modern to be 7.1, right? That didn't.
Yeah, so it's not that old.
It's made to look old. It almost looks like it's out of the 50s or 60s with the metallic finish and the
Silver
Yeah.
front.
It's got a real industrial look to it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, of course, a Dynakit.
Oh boy,
With it looks like the
What's that,
manual.
Dynakit?
With,
Yeah.
with a manual.
There
No
you
less.
go.
Look at that.
and it's stereo.
mono. Yeah.
That
it's
looks
a-
that kind of look, that vintage is usually mono. It's not stereo. So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And
Well,
with
it
a
looks like
manual.
I don't know if that's 6BQ5s or 6V6s on that. Probably 6BQ5, I would
I would
guess.
bet 6BQ5s.
Yeah.
Ooh, had that same.
If it was a
VCR.
Stromberg
Warheads.
Carlson, it would be 7199s or some weird thing like that.
Yes.
God.
A little bit of everything here.
Yeah.
Had that same
Warhead
VCR
super
30 years
sharp
ago.
Down Craftsman. We've seen one of these before for a whole $25.
Preamp and equalizer.
Missing a few, a bunch of these.
All used very little by Tom Cruise walking around his living room in a pair of underwear.
Yeah, right.
It's a dessert
Remember that
topping and a
scene where
floor
he
wax.
just takes everything and cranks it all up? That's what it
Yep.
looks like.
I believe the sign says underwear sold separately.
Yeah.
Of course,
Oh,
Macintosh.
yeah,
Ooh,
there you
we
go.
go. Yeah.
MX 110.
Stereophonic tuner preamp. Look at that.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Nice tuning eye right there. Very nice. I don't remember what I was asking, but I'm sure it was a lot.
It's
Yep.
like it's missing a piece of trim.
I seem to remember, yeah, you're right. I seem to remember it was about 8 something. I want to say it was 850, but I could be wrong. I could be way off, but that's the number sort of semi sticks in my brain. Speakers.
Ooh. Those are my preamplifiers, I think, up there on top. I'm sorry, audio compensators is what they called them. They're Macintosh
Yeah.
C4 audio compensators.
Yeah,
Because they had so many different standards for records back then. So there was like the Columbia LP and the 78 RPM and the da-da-da-da-da. If you, the second knob in, I believe, if you zoom in on either one of those things, if you can.
Whoop, sorry about that. I inadvertently hit the forward button. Let me just go back.
That's all right.
Boom, there we go.
No need to bore the rest of the group with it. I know what all the knobs mean. But
There we go.
I have a couple of them in the other room.
Yes, you do, because you had showed us a couple of meetings back.
Yeah.
You see selector, compensator, was that bass, treble, and volume.
Yep. And it was in typical Macintosh fashion. All right, they don't work unless you have a Macintosh tube amplifier because the B plus comes from the tube amplifier. Because they didn't want to have big noisy power transformers and rectifiers and things in the preamp. There's the only power supply that's in those preamps is for the filament voltage for the 12AX7s that are in there. And it's actually got a filtered, like the filaments are DC, not AC powered, because you don't want to have any potential source of hum, even if it's coming from the heaters of the vacuum tubes. That's how crazy and anal they were when they did this stuff. So there are power cords on those preamps, but not for the B plus, only for the filaments. And the power supply is, some stupid, 22,000 microfarad, 15-volt electrolytic to filter so it's pure DC going to the heaters, if I can talk like an old guy.
Interesting. Yep, here's a Philco in its case.
Nice little case.
Yeah, the strap is broken, but decent shape. Motorola. Little guy in decent shape.
With a good handle intact.
Yes, indeed. And here it looks to be a projector, I believe.
Yeah, 8mm.
Yeah.
Which is weird. See that way back in the 50s, we were already going metric.
Yeah, that's right.
Not Super 8, just 8mm.
That's right. Chelsea Super 5s. What they made? Let's see if I can move. I gotta move this aside a second here. Chelsea Radio in Chelsea, Massachusetts. It is Massachusetts.
Yeah,
wonder
wow.
why they-
Master Tone, Chelsea Master. Oh, interesting. Never heard of it.
Yeah, I never knew that Chelsea, Massachusetts made radios, but yet another thing made in Massachusetts. Up, got a couple of Marantz and a Heathkit.
Yeah.
And
Mohican.
Heathkit, Mohican. And that was the last, but it is a Mohican.
By the shores of Gitche Gumi.
Says band switch stuck, so it already has a defect. There's some various minor problems. It's hard to read this, but it doesn't say a price. But yep, nice cosmetic shape. A pair of Cambridge Soundworks, I believe. Yep.
Yep.
$30, best offer. Decent set of speakers. Dynaco.
Ooh, I've got one of those.
There you go.
ST70.
Yeah. Pretty nifty unit.
Yeah, it's a good. It had a they had selenium rectifiers that you had to change, but then you'd have to rebias. But other than that, they were fine.
Pico stereo. Interesting. Not seen very often.
So the ICO ST70 and the Dynaco ST70.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
was thinking
you
the
know,
same thing. Yeah. Yeah. Good point, Steve.
except the Dynaco is just a power amp, so it's 35 watts a channel. It's got none of these controls on it for anything. Whereas this looks like it's an integrated amplifier, I guess, as they called it in its day.
Nice condition, actually.
Yeah. Ooh, here's a big honker.
Yeah, Bogan. Bogan. There's some nice pieces there, and I think some of these pieces did leave the place
With tube cages.
Yeah, gotta have that. Gotta have the effect. Although sometimes it's nice to see what what's going on.
No, you can see the glow through the
Yeah.
cage, but but you can't burn yourself on the tubes because you
Right.
can't touch them.
Nor can you cook anything. I guess you could cook something.
You can cook.
Yeah, that's really.
You listen to music and make your steak. Same
Yeah,
thing.
throw a couple of Well, you'd have to get that Chelsea one or whatever. You'd throw some Gorton's fish sticks on top of it.
Right. There you go.
Who needs an air fryer when you got it?
That's right. When you got vacuum tubes, you can save on your home heating oil bill. Just crank up the tunes.
Yeah, put a couple of slices of bacon on there.
Yeah.
Get the odor and the sound. You really get the whole, the whole sensory
Breakfast on the
experience.
toast and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Couple English muffins up there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Set the bias the wrong way. Get some red plating going on those output tubes.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
That's a nice
Look at that.
one. Fired up. I think this is a gentleman's table where he had everything. I went back. I think I took some of these with my iPhone because with iPhones, you don't need to run the flash. So they're actually much more benign. So you get to enjoy the lit up, dial face and so forth. But rather, let's see, I think that's 250 Pioneer SX 1000D. Is that right?
I kind of miss the little light, the little stereo indicator, especially on the dashboard of the car. On the mod, you could tell when you were just starting to move out of range on your FM station when that stereo light would start flickering.
Flickering, fluttering. Yep.
Yeah.
You can
You don't
hear it
get
too in
that.
the sound. You
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
get that anymore.
Yeah, no, everything's locked in, or you just lose it. It's
Yeah.
yeah, they've eliminated all that fun stuff. All the visual little lights they've over time have taken away.
I think I got the impression that was a tube Pioneer.
Oh,
With the show.
let's
I
see.
don't know.
Restored.
I think that's a solid state.
Yeah.
It's a 1000 something. It sounds like Pioneer SX 1000.
Something BD, or is it something D?
I don't know.
Well, it says on the face and script that it's
Oh
solid
yeah,
state.
there we go. Yeah, that's right. It was SX 1000 TC.
Oh yeah, solid state. Yeah, my
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah. This is though probably like late.
So there's the
late
little
60s, early
stereo
70s.
light that's
Yeah.
up there above the 88. What's the other little light to the left of the band?
Oh no, wait, I think maybe
No,
that's the stereo.
Oh,
That's
that's
the
a stereo.
stereo
So the other
indicator
one,
right
so
there.
what's that?
Power.
Pilot
I think
light?
that's just power.
Pilot, yeah.
Okay.
Pilot, I think.
Looks like it has a.
Let's have a
Looks
two-
like it's got a. Well, he's got to have the bass cranked up. It must not have like a loudness button. Look at the bass is cranked, the treble is cranked. Must be from a college dorm room or something.
Yeah. Nice condition though.
Vital.
But this has got to be like late 60s, early 70s stuff.
Yeah.
I like all these little flip switches and so forth. Oh, it's still rather nice. Levers and switches always work well for me.
I still probably had the germanium output transistors.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That they actually sounded pretty decent.
Cosmopolitan 5. Cosmo. We got up
Not
here.
because it has 5 twos, but because it has 5 knobs.
That's right.
Oh, I thought that was the band playing in the lounge next door.
There we go.
There we go. The Cosmo 5.
Anybody know where that Cosmopolitan 5, where that's made?
I have no idea. There's, this is the
Oh.
price or the item number, because 42 is an unusual number, but it is the perfect number.
It's got a degaussing coil next to it, huh?
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
New York City, 1925.
1925.
Wow.
Good
Yes.
find.
At
Thanks,
least
Bob.
that's what Google says.
Well,
Look,
let's,
you
the name seems to fit, right? It's
Yeah, New York.
Yeah, thanks.
Look, you can plug in a horn or headphones.
You guys don't want that radio anyway. It's probably only going to pick up Yankee games anyhow.
Well, no, maybe.
You probably have to live at the base of the tower.
Yeah. Well, it comes with graphic equalizer. So.
Yeah.
There we
sound.
go. Well, yeah, that was the special order item,
My hometown,
Standardine.
Standardine?
Worcester,
Standardine.
Massachusetts.
Really?
That's Worcester?
Good thing
Worcester,
I got
Massachusetts,
unlimited on
yeah.
my phone here.
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know they made anything like that in Worcester. Wow.
That was the only, the building down by Clark University, I think it's a Kinko's or a Federal Express or something right now. That's where it was made.
You got to say it right, though. It's Clack.
Clark.
It's Clack University.
Yeah.
I grew up in Southern Connecticut, and one of the first people I encountered when I checked into the dorm freshman year at WPI was a still a good friend of mine, Eric Blom, who was from somewhere near Worcester. I can't remember exactly where, but he said, "Noah, come on, let's go down to the Clack Bar." And I was like, "The what? What language are you speaking? The what?" He was like, "The Clack Bar. We'll go down to the Clack Bar." He was trying to say, the bar at Clark University. So he was calling it the Clark Bar, but the way he was saying it, I had no idea what he was talking about because
What?
I had never heard anyone speak that way before.
Isn't that a candy bar?
Yeah, clackback. What's a clackback?
I can't find the model number of that, but that was made in Worcester.
Yep.
So,
A long time ago.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, it's in these
probably a
stuff.
99-year-old radio, another
Probably.
1925 radio.
Because Atwater Kent went to WPI and flunked out.
Actually, you know, it's rather nice. I mean, it's all in nice shape.
I don't collect any 20s radios, but I do have one Standardine just because it was made in Worcester and that's where I grew up. So that's really the only reason I have it.
As you should, Howard. I
Oh, did
totally
you hang
appreciate
out at the Valhalla in Lincoln Square?
No, I that's too classy for me.
Oh, you must have been a Green Street kind of guy. That was another dangerous spot.
I see. Here we go.
You sure would. I've got a couple of those. Those are the ones I add on to my AM shortwave consoles, plug them into the phono input so I can, get something not in Spanish to listen to.
$40.
Yeah, it's about right. Paying 25 to, if it's already been gone through and it works well, then $40 is probably reasonable.
There were a lot of amps flying, at the show this time around. I was actually impressed by the number.
Sherwood made good tuners.
Right here. Heathkit? No.
What is that?
Just trying to actually get a little closer look.
Well,
there.
an AM band is on the top.
Heathkit.
It is Heathkit. I thought it was a Heathkit. $60, but it is. I can't really read this very well. 54.55. That's I can read the year.
That's not a bad price for that.
It's seen very often, actually. They're getting pretty good nick. Emerson. Nice radio.
Ingram cabinet.
Yeah. Here's a Siemens with a Schalltula, that the shutter style doors that closed up on the radio.
No one's going to argue with you. You're the German radio expert.
Yeah, you can see that. You can see these are just really very attractive. They had this very shutter style close, like that, close both sides. You could close up the entire radio, and so nobody had to see it. He was one of the only manufacturers I'm aware of that actually ever did that. Aside from doing the typical wooden panel that would lift up or down, but they did a very, very fancy setup to make it very elegant. Nice radio, of course. Nice big.
Whose table is that?
I can't remember. We had a few of these things. He had this, and he had a Grundig, which I did look more than once at, but it needed work. And he had one other radio. I forgot what, another German radio. Then he had a bunch of other stuff like American stuff and all that. These are nice radios. Not very common, very attractive.
I think that might have been Ross Hostrasser's table.
I was going to say, I would have guessed Ross, but
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it might have been his.
I actually, Howard, I'm almost sure it wasn't. I thought it was this other gentleman. Ross only had, I can remember Zaba. He had, but
you're probably right, John.
But I think this might be. I can't tell what this is. I don't think they made these as U.S. export, but nice radio though. And you see these only once in a great while. Really nice shape. There's an RCA Victor portable.
Lunchbox.
Yes, indeed.
That's a fairly decent performer too. That's a battery AC set.
Yeah.
5 tube, but no, it doesn't have a 1L6. I think the first tube's a 1R5 in it. Decent radio though.
Yeah, it's all complete. Even the handle's in good shape. It was nice and good shape.
I think, yeah, there you go.
Here's a
That's the one I'm like more used to seeing.
asking a whole 145.
Wow.
Restore. That's seemed a little steep to me.
You know, though, the metal's in very good shape, and I think the sliding door is not bent or
Yeah.
anything like that. That's actually your on-off switch. If you see toward the middle, the
Yep.
metal is actually elongated. That's where you would grab it and open and close it, and that turns your radio on off as well. But I guess he's selling it based on condition with that
Yeah.
number. I would think. I think that
Probably.
number is a little excessive myself, but it's a great radio.
I mean, it certainly deserves a premium for condition, but I'm not sure 145 is a premium.
Yeah, I think that's it's jet fuel. That's not premium.
Yeah,
Nitromethane.
That's
Yes,
the old,
Nitromethane.
That's the
He's
old-
running funny car fumes on that.
Yeah.
that's the old Snelco 260, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
There's another
Another shot.
Siemens wanted to get a better shot of that. That's a very nice looking radio.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it's sort of a hybrid or something. It's like it says, look at the button labels. It's like some of them are German, but then it says phono.
I think they might just they may have adopted that as sort of a sometimes the Europeans will adapt
Usually it says like PU over there, right?
Exactly, pick up, right. But I think which is interesting, I'm not sure, unless it only has the one input. I'm not sure. If something with PU, you'd have two twin inputs. You get either phono or reel to reel or whatnot. I'm not sure on this radio.
I like the bass and treble cymbals on there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's all very attractive. I mean, you don't grow tired looking at the dial face on these things. It's always lots to consume the eye, to fill the eye.
2 tweeters and
yeah, it's one large, multi-range, and then these are probably a couple of mid-range / tweeters.
Anything firing out the sides of that one, or is it all forward?
I think on this it was all forward, if memory serves, but I could be wrong. But this is just from memory.
Yeah.
Little toaster style radios.
Life of Riley.
Yes.
William
Bendix.
Sorry.
They use that same chassis in a Castleton. I'm sure you guys have seen it. I almost wish they made this cabinet style the Castleton. I mean, the Castletons are gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but it's just a plain box. This here has, to me, a real deco design that if it were Castleton or Beetle or just some kind of, I really love the design of that cabinet. I don't know who designed it, but I think it's really a screaming deco kind of I would like to have seen this in something other than brown or painted bakelite. And they also put that in a wooden cabinet as well. But my favorite is this style cabinet.
I've actually painted a few of those up in 3 different colors, and they look kind of nicer than just one solid.
Yeah, definitely. I could see where you could get away with 3 different colors on that. Definitely.
Greg, did you say you saw one? Like, was this one of those guys that paints with the automotive finishes? Or?
No, I had a couple of them that were so badly chipped they had to be painted anyway, so I painted them 3 different colors just to
gotcha.
give it some little
nice
more flair.
Good idea.
Here was a grinding. In fact, you see it's right on top of it. Here's a grinding.
That really shows how big that radio is.
Yeah, I know. Look at this. This is a honker. Let me get the model number on this. This one, the model is not quite coming to my mind here. Can I read it? I can't remember the model number. But these speakers actually, they had speakers on the sides, but they kind of were sort of They had speakers in the front and the sides. This is a 4-speaker system. Of course, it had the multi-adjustable.
With the, it looks like the little tiny red plastic wire is not broken. So many of them are, you know, broken.
Yes, indeed. And this is a US, this is an export model, but you can see it's got the full spectrum. Nice radio, and actually really nice cosmetic condition. I think he was asking $260 for it, but I was like, I passed on it. It needed work, and I really have too many big stuff already. So that one was a stare and say, oh, this is a nice radio, and they do sound really good. But I moved on.
It's got all the gold inlay trim around the perimeter. No pieces busted off.
Yeah, no, everything looked to be all there. You know, you can see the Grundig Majestic as well, which also confirms it's an import to the United States.
Yeah.
It's actually labeled there too. Nice radio. What is no look? You can see there's nice big speaker grills on each side there for the additional. Let's maybe look at a model number this time around. No, just hi-fi sound. I was hoping it had the model number on there, but I guess not.
No.
Sometimes they do stick it on there.
On the back panel.
Yeah, this one is in the back. It's indeed a
Wharfdale. British.
Yes, indeed. I thought it was worth a shot because you don't see British speakers all that often. As I said,
wonder if it's one of the sand-packed ones.
Sand-packed.
Yeah, the backs of these speakers were like double walled with like a open about a 3/4 to an inch space, and it was filled with sand to dampen any and all resonances in the cabinet and make them extra heavy to carry around.
Interesting.
Really heavy.
I bet.
Yeah, had a few Wharfdales in my day. I was tempted to drain the sand out just to see if they would sound any different.
Or it'd be easier to move.
Yeah.
That would be assured.
Zenith radio phonograph.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Nice little dial.
Yeah, I liked it.
Little 1019 in front of it, huh?
A dual? Is it a dual turntable in front?
There was a dual there. I think you're right.
Yeah, it's a 1019, I think.
Yep, I think you were right.
I think my first turntable was a dual 10 something. I can't remember. And then I moved up to, I think it was a 504 because it was belt drive instead of puck driven. Then I still have that in a dual. And then I got a Thorns after that.
Very few things. We got Pioneer, a Kenwood. And another Pioneer.
Another Pioneer.
It's a Kenwood sandwich.
Look at that. Look at the Kenwood. It's like, is it my eyesight or is that loudness button pushed in? Got to have the loudness button on. Gives you an idea of whether, how it was treated in its lifetime.
Right. It looks like
loudness button on, volume control at 11.
Yeah.
This receiver's never been beat. It's been very well treated.
Well, the dials never been exercised. They've always been maxed out hard right on every knob, except for the balance. Oh, some more. You got a Yamaha and a Harman Kardon, another Harman Kardon.
Lots of buttons.
Yeah, that's for sure. You can see these are definitely 80s.
Yeah, with the LEDs instead of the VU meters and that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's well into the 80s. There's a Motorola.
Oh, that's cute.
Yep.
I've seen them around. They're neat.
Yep. Flip the face up to turn it on.
Your tube, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or tuber.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty nifty.
For potatoes.
Nice shape. Yep, here's another shot of that same Pioneer I think we
Mhm.
looked at a little earlier. This seemed like this might have been taken with my iPhone because you can see the colors of the dial face come in a lot more as you would see it.
Oh,
Yep, he's the same guy who had this. We have here the Kenwood.
that looks like a 61 Chrysler dashboard.
Yeah, I know, right?
Electroluminescent.
Luminescent, yeah. I think he had a couple of Pioneers. It might have been like a pair each side. Yes, I think this is on the right side. So it's similar. You can see the FM stereo light is full
Yeah.
lit.
But not the pilot light, not the power light.
It may not have one.
Oh, okay.
This one maybe this is
It's a
guys
different
XS
model.
700T. So it's a
Yeah,
lower
different
end,
vintage, different.
lower end model maybe. You get a little less goodies. Here's a Philco.
Transitone.
Can't tell what price they were asking though.
53 or 54.
Yeah, nice looking radio. Nice, all nice color combinations too. I like it, the black, gold, and the red.
Test equipment.
Oh yeah, this guy had a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, Heathkit, and what we got here?
Wow, FM stereo generator.
That's actually kind of rare.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. Couple of flute counters underneath.
You gotta have a decent piece of equipment to do FM. I mean, that's good enough that you could probably get into that. Every time I try to do FM stereo, I have to rethink everything because it's not a common alignment procedure.
$45. Not unreasonable.
That's fair.
Yeah,
The John Fluke Company.
There we go. Here's a Masterwork.
$19.
Vintage Works.
Vintage.
Well, it's got a radio in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Got the see right there. It's a little haggard in the front there, but
Columbia Masterwork.
But for $19,
Yeah.
it's under the $20 threshold. Such a deal.
May need a new needle.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I've seen these around. These are uber rare, but they're cool. These were giveaway radios to car dealers.
Yeah.
They sell radios. Like if you had bought a car and it didn't have a radio in it, this kind of advertised their radios.
Huh.
Yes, indeed. You know, it's this really nice wall radio. So you get the speaker, you get the tuner, you can see the dial cords here. $50.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They say $50 is not all that unreasonable.
That's fair. I mean, it's a unique.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a radio thing. It's automobile related. It's vintage. It crosses off a lot of buttons.
You could probably hang it on your wall.
Yeah.
Definitely niche though.
Oh yeah.
Niche
you can see it's got a little power. You know, yeah, it is. It's kind of fun though. Like if you wanted something cool and
could be the only kid on your block.
Exactly. I did look at that more than once. Isn't that pretty darn cool? I wouldn't mind owning this just for the uniqueness. Yeah, lots of.
There we go.
There we go. What we got?
That's another
unusual, that Electrotech scope.
Another Sherwood tuner up front,
Sorry
the
about that.
HP in the back.
I got caught up with hitting the button. There we go. We got the Electrotech. I have no idea what the Electrotech was going for, unfortunately.
Sherwood, Hewlett Packard.
Yeah.
Heathkit.
Yeah, the VOMC Heathkit. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, was it a Roberts tape deck or something like that, or a Kai?
The big one, I think
Yeah.
the little one way over, or the smaller one way over to the left might be an Akai or maybe even a Tiac. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the
Right.
big one? I think that's an old Roberts.
The
Yeah,
big one,
yeah,
I
that's-
think, is an old, yeah,
That's
I
an
think that
Akai.
is an old Roberts. It's not very common when compared to a Tiac or an Akai.
Yeah. I can't remember if I got better shots of those. We'll see later.
Little boom box in the background. It must be on the other table behind it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's another table behind. It's also and a couple of car radios in case you didn't know. It's a Corvette and Mustang. It looks like. Or cars. No, they just no, not car radios. I think they're just promo cars or something.
Yeah, the guy had his kid with there selling some of his stuff.
There we go. That's right. I do remember seeing car toys.
Look at the little adding machine with the paper tape in it.
Yeah.
Michael Cat.
Yeah, Mike Katz was there. He had radios and grill cloth and nice big board. Here's
RCA.
RCA Victor with a twin
Mhm.
speaker.
Yeah.
It's a nice little radio. I remember I saw one with a nice decal too. It doesn't seem to have this. It said twin speakers. It was you could tell it was a factory decal too. This one doesn't seem to have it though.
Lost in the refinish.
Yeah, maybe. Very, very likely. Neat radio though. $125. What do we have here?
Like another twin speaker.
Yeah, Lisa, definitely speaker there. Maybe one there. Might be. It's not like a fake. Maybe another speaker there.
I don't know.
That's kind of an odd shortwave band on that. It looks like it's going from 6 to 24 meg.
Yeah.
What does it say? Pilot?
Yeah, so
I think it is a pilot.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think it is pilot.
Oh, that explains that then.
Yeah.
I just did some really strange off the wall stuff sometimes.
Well, we saw that piece, the beast we saw at the last meeting, the big honking pilot. That was
Yeah.
Yeah, that was killer.
That was a killer. That thing with the seller, he's a big guy. He was probably about 6'5" and probably 250 or easy 250, and he could even that kind of filled him, but he just walked around like it was not a big deal. But that filled his arms. Here we go. This is a nice Nordmenda. What do they call it? The trend.
Dial cord
Stradella.
frozen.
It was called Stradella. I think this is Mike's. And I thought about it, but it's like, I think I'll pass. What's his name? Paul Lavoie had another Stradella, which I think didn't last very long. He was only asking $35, and it went. And I know that was restored, so nobody had to worry about that. That was very fair. It's usually these in nice condition, working well, are a good $50 radio if it's been gone through.
Yeah, Royal 2000.
Yeah. Can't tell what she was asking because the paper is flipped upward.
With AFC.
Yes, indeed. Yep, another GL.
Classic.
That is the 1 year only 1950 G500.
Yep.
All work.
Buttons stuck
inside. $50. Not
That was the first year they went to the miniature tubes.
It's actually in pretty good condition overall. It looks
got
solid.
about a 5 foot tall antenna that comes shooting out of that thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's when the word mast really applies.
Mast, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, $50 is actually not unreasonable for this.
No, not at all. I mean, the 106 alone is like $25-30.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Yeah.
It's nice and clean.
Yeah, it looks in more than you could bring up a few levels and have yourself a nice little radio if you can, obviously fix its defects.
they're decent performers when they're tuned up right. You know, they really are. I mean, there's things to watch out for, like missing pieces and silver mica disease and that kind of stuff. But you know, when they're up and working, they're great performers for what they are.
Hmm. Another
Oh, it's a
GE.
GE, I think.
Yeah, GE L513.
Oh yeah, it is. Okay.
$25. Works but needs restoring. That's pretty fair for $25. I mean, gives a nice entry rate for someone to restore.
What's this Ingraham cabinet stuff? Can somebody explain that to me?
They're a cabinet maker in
They were a
Bristol.
cabinet maker in Connecticut that
Yeah.
made a lot of stuff for mostly Emerson.
Yeah, Bristol, Connecticut.
Yeah, Bristol. I couldn't remember the name, but they made for like about half dozen different radio manufacturers. But Emerson was the big big customer for them.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't seem to have any particularly attractive styling to me, to my eyes. So
No,
Some were
many
really
of them
pretty.
did. So,
This
some are
must be their square design.
So some of them though are very, I mean, the name itself kind of says, hey, this is a pretty good quality cabinet, but they also made a lot of cabinets for the Telecron clocks that were made out of wood as well, and a few other things. And I mean, if you ever took apart one of the Emerson cabinets to do a refinish, say, you can see that they had a lot of good machinery there in terms of the routing and the molding and the tools.
Yeah.
So they are good in that. Like I said, I almost would not, if somebody didn't say, hey, this is an Ingraham cabinet, I would never have guessed it would be.
Right. They had some pretty designs, like I had what's it is?
My favorite is the Stradivarius.
Hmm.
The Emerson Stradivarius. It looked like a Stradivarius violin.
Mhm.
Wow.
It was pretty cool.
They did a few elegant designs, but this one is, a little bit more conventional for sure.
pedestrian, yeah. Well, the wood grill there is kind of,
Yeah.
a little nice touch.
Yeah, I mean, there's some nice aspects. I mean, I did like was it a think about it, was an Emerson 844. I had a lunchbox radio, which I had actually given to the club for the silent auction. That was formed by my brothers, and that was an Ingraham cabinet. It was actually very attractive. It was this nice round, the lunchbox style. It was actually nicely crafted radio.
So is that a real curve to the back, or is that just an artifact of the photo?
That's a really good question, Steve. I'm not sure. It's hard to say.
It would be an odd design feature for it to be on the back, but
yeah, no, it's a good observation. I'm not entirely sure.
Someone propped up a car with it.
Yeah. Somebody uses a stepping stool, over time.
I get my MG up in the air so I can do an oil change on it. So I just
There we go.
put that on top of the tire and it's fine.
Yeah, there could be a little bit of a bow in it.
Probably a flower pot or something stupid.
Yeah, something weighty though, because there was decent wood in there.
I've actually had a couple of these. And
they are actually what's that? Is that a Mickey Mantle radio? What is that?
Oh, it's RCA Victor.
Yeah.
And it's a transistor set, and they actually play really, really well.
Yeah, but who's the person that's in the?
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm sorry. That looks like Beaver Cleaver.
I thought it was Mickey Mantle or something.
Yeah, kind of. I would have guessed that too, there, Noah.
Oh, they are wearing a Yankee cap.
Yeah, I think there is a New York thing in there. It's hard to say, though. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, Bob, as a Yankee fan, you must know the answer to this question. What was Mickey Mantle's favorite inning?
First of all, I'm a Met fan. I'm not a Yankee fan.
Oh, okay.
I because I live close to New York, I am a Mets fan and I'm Jets fan. So I've gone through my life with a great deal of pain and suffering in my sports fandom.
Yes.
That could be Mickey Mantle though. That had to be a young Mickey Mantle before he started doing the heavy drinking.
Well, that's right. Why that was the answer to the question.
Yeah, That's a
Mickey
younger
Man,
Mickey
Mickey,
Mantle.
Mickey Mantle's favorite inning was the bottom of the fifth. Sorry.
Oh,
Try the veal. I'll be here all week.
yeah, there you go. Oh,
Well, look at
that's
these.
so
Look at
funny.
these classic
That
60s
was
style.
before he went and hung out with Billy Martin at the bar. Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God!
Or
yes.
Phil Rizzuto.
So now Phil Rizzuto, I think, was a teetotaler, but Billy Martin used to like drinking.
Hmm.
Yeah, Billy Martin was well known for that.
Drinking and fighting.
Yeah, I think that was
Yes.
ultimately his undoing.
That guy used to fight everybody. He was just
Oh,
a
even
little
in the
guy.
dugout.
Well, he grew up
Yeah.
that way. I remember reading his book years ago, Number One. You
Mm.
know, and he grew up. You grew up, in a low income, tough neighborhood.
But I mean, that
Scrappy. You
could
had to be
be.
scrappy.
I mean, if there was a real, honest to goodness, RCA Mickey Mantle radio or whoever that is, maybe that could be somewhat collectible, unless whoever owned this thing just stuck that on there. I don't know.
I read
Yeah.
his story one time about. I'll do the abbreviated version real quick. Mickey Mantle and Billy Martin hung out a lot together, and Mickey Mantle knew a guy in Oklahoma where he was originally grew up from. He had a cattle farm, and one time him and Billy Martin used to go hunting together. So they used to literally drive around in a car with loaded shotguns, and then probably had the fifth next to that, which was probably not a good idea, but they did. Long and short was, so they were going out to this ranch. They were going to go hunting, and the guy that basically had the ranch had a horse that had a problem, a major problem. He asked Mickey Mantle if he could shoot the horse and put it. So the guy couldn't do it because he loved this horse. The horse was like 15 years old and whatever. So he brings Billy down there, and then he knows that when he was going to get there, he was going to have to shoot this horse. But he didn't tell Billy that. So knowing that the two of them were going to go hunting, they go to the guy's ranch, they find a horse, and Mickey Mantle shoots the horse in front of Billy Martin. He just, "What are you going to do? We got to get out of here. This guy's, you just shot this horse." You thought the guy was going to run out and start shooting them, and next thing you know, the guy came out, and next thing you know, Mickey Mantle falls on the ground, and he's laughing his brains out at Billy. Because Billy thought that they were going to be in big trouble and the cops were going to come or the guy was going to come around his house and shooting him. And that's a true story.
Wow.
Hey,
I read that in a book somewhere when I was a kid. And I never forgot that.
that's funny.
Well,
think it's
all I
still
can
on.
tell you
About
for
that.
all I can tell you for sure is that whoever that is, it's not Ron. It's not Ron Swoboda or Ed Kranepool. I can tell you that.
That's
No, they were Mets.
No,
They
I
were-
know, but that's why I threw those in there for the Mets thing. I was a
Oh.
big Mets fan too. I can give you the whole lineup from 1969 or
Oh,
actually,
I could too.
Yeah.
I could too. Yeah, there was this little known pitcher at that time that nobody heard of that ended up being a Hall of Famer. Do you remember who that was?
Nolan Ryan.
That's it.
yeah.
Yep. They wouldn't let him. They
Nolan
wouldn't let
Ryan.
him pitch. They wouldn't let him throw batting practice because they didn't want to get hurt. And Gil Hodges was like, "You can't throw batting practice," because he could throw 100 miles an hour, but most of the time in his rookie year, he didn't know where it was going. That was,
Right.
Yeah, he was all over the place in his youth until he got coached.
Yeah.
Yes,
Enough of
This
that.
is
But
actually getting back to this though. This was actually a really good radio.
Hmm.
When it's tuned up and you recapped it or whatever, that thing sounded really nice for a table set.
So you've seen one of these before without a baseball
I've
player.
actually worked on a couple
Okay.
that I found at yard sales for a couple bucks, and I, go through them and flip them.
So there isn't supposed to be a picture of a person in that knob.
No, that was this probably belonged to some kid or something. Growing up.
Okay.
But,
I regret selling mine.
oh, that's interesting. And you should have grabbed it there, Steve.
They made a lot of them. You probably find another one.
Yeah, that's why it's
Trust
got
me.
a little grody there in the front.
Yeah,
there,
this one is in the best of shape. So
yeah, but it's got that classic '60s dial knobs. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
one thing that's classic for this radio is that little electroplating that they put on the plastic knobs has a tendency to come off.
Yeah,
So
that was pretty common.
and I can even see in this picture that it looked like it probably belonged to a smoking family. Either that or they lit fires in their house frequently or something. I don't know. Just
Does it have any kind of like telescopic antenna anywhere, or is it just buried
It's
inside?
the inductive line cord
Yeah.
FM
Oh,
antenna,
okay.
and there's a
Gotcha.
ferrite inside.
Ferrite
Actually,
rod
a large
inside.
ferrite rod for the AM.
Yep,
Yeah.
ferrite for AM and then line cord for FM. Okay. Just kind of looked like it.
But if you see one of these for a couple bucks, pick it up. It's a sleeper. It's a really good.
I don't remember if it had a transformer, whether it was AC/DC.
It had a small transformer inside of it, I think, just to get it from, to make it DC. I forget what the output voltage is. But it was a tiny little one.
I had a Motorola that was AC/DC. Oh man. Poor output transistor in that sucker. 940 volts,
Yeah.
Right.
These things had a nice sound to them. They're good radio.
I have to keep an eye out.
Well, boys, it's actually 9 o'clock. I should probably, or just a moment or two after, I probably should cut you guys loose to enjoy what's left of your evening.
Well, this will be a memorable slide to stop on.
Yeah, exactly. Mickey will stop at Mickey, and there's still more to be seen. And
Cleon. Is sure it's not Cleon Jones? I don't know.
Wow.
Sure. Yeah, Cleon Jones or Tommy Agee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, either we'll pick this up next week. Noah, if you ever have an opportunity to get your photos together from back down in Florida.
I think I have. I think I can see them on my PC, which hopefully means I can share them. So
yeah, so maybe if not this meeting, not this upcoming meeting, the meeting that follows, maybe you'd be in a position where we could do that.
Yeah, sure, I could do that. It wouldn't be the only thing we could do that night, because it's not going to take all that long to get
Don't
through.
worry, I got some other stuff. We got other stuff in the in the hopper we can do. Absolutely. And just as a teaser, is that Rob Vincent's been sharing some photos from his explorations at the New England Wireless and Steam Museum. Some interesting stuff, early radios he's been sharing my way. So hopefully I'll have enough pictures together if he sends me more, that we'll actually be able to do a meeting of what his explorations have found. So good stuff. It's sort of like exploring like a cave, you knows what you'll find. But anyway, you guys, great meeting. Thanks for coming. Enjoy the next couple of weeks. The weather will only get improved hopefully over time, and hopefully we'll see you on April, I think it was around April 7th or 8th if memory serves, or no, it's April 10th. But anyway, we'll see you soon enough.
All right, thank you much.
Take care of yourselves, guys.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.